Okay, I want you to be honest. Did I get you with that jump scare? And are you scared now? But what are you scared of, really? Are you scared of the clown? Or are you scared that I'm going to play that exact same jump scare later in this video and get you again? Horror movies today, they just don't know how to scare people. I have been to a couple of horror movies in theaters, like the new version of It, based off the book by Stephen King, and I watched on Netflix recently The Haunting of Hill House, which had some good parts in it, some actually creepy imagery, but both of them suffer from the same exact thing, the jump scare. The jump scare is the most cheapest thing a horror movie can think of to get you to be on your seats, to get you feeling tension. But where is the tension coming from? It's not from the creatures or the tension of our characters dying. When I watch a movie like It, and the clown jumps on the screen, and it's a loud tung, and it's a sudden image, I'm not scared. I'm just startled, and I'm nervous about getting startled again because I don't like the feeling. I'm not scared of the clown killing people or killing me. When I left the theater of It, I wasn't scared that there was a clown in the bushes or anything. When I think of a horror movie, what I want to be, what I want from a horror movie is when I leave the theater, I want the horror movie to follow with me. I want to be thinking of the thing that's scaring me. I want to think about the thing that scared the characters in the movie. I don't want to walk out of a movie and just have my heart racing because a bunch of images suddenly flashed and a bunch of loud noises happened. That's not scary. That just gets your blood pumping because you just don't like being startled, especially me. Now, I know that this video is probably going to piss some people off because scares are subjective and you can think to yourself, oh, Paranormal Activity is super scary, or, oh, what, you weren't scared? um, what I want to talk about is the audio, the audio of the jump scare, and just it doesn't scare me. And like I said, it's subjective. They couldn't scare you, and you can feel like you're scared, but it doesn't scare me. And I'm sure people be like, "Oh well, you were scared because you jumped. I saw you jump." Yeah, I jumped because a loud noise happened that made me go like, "Oh gosh," made me jump out of my seat because that's just us humans. When somebody comes up to you and taps your hand on the back, if on your back, or suddenly goes like boo, or a loud train passes by you that you didn't know was there, you jump. It's just coded into our DNA. It's not scary, it's just human nature. So I'm going to bring up two examples of horror movies that get scares right. And what I feel like they get right is something that I would like to call the reaction shot and slow buildup of sound. So the first example I'm going to bring up is Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, a truly horrific film that is so scary that when I first watched it, because I grew up, well, not grew up, I recently saw Twin Peaks, and it's all happy and the characters are lively and it's a nice place. And then I see the movie and oh my gosh, it's just so, the imagery is just so surreal and it's just so off putting. So, in one scene, the main character, Laura Palmer, she is coming back to her house and she has this feeling that there is this evil spirit in her house, in her bedroom. And she slowly opens the door. We don't see anything. Don't see anything. And then all of a sudden, we see her face first. Now, this is important. This is what I was talking about. The reaction shot, and then we see what's happening. We see her face scream. The scream is the loud noise, not this other unnatural vroom. It's her scream that breaks this tension-filled silence. And then we see Bob, the evil spirit, and he screams. And that terror feels like it has some weight, and it has some payoff. The next example I want to take from is from the classic The Shining by Stanley Kubrick. Now, there is actually some jump scares in there, but they're handled so well. Like the scene where Danny is going down the hallway. We hear a noise, but it's subtle. It's in the background. And as soon as he goes around the corner, then we see the twins. The sound comes first, and then the image of the twins. That's how you do a jump scare. But the example that I want to talk about is the shot that really scared me when I first saw this movie. I saw this movie when I was in middle school, and this scene absolutely just gave me chills. Wendy is walking around the house trying to find Danny, and the whole house is basically just coming alive and just going crazy, and she's seeing all the ghosts and paranormal activity for the first time. And she slowly walks up the stairs, and we see her face, just this horrified face of hers. People criticize Shelley Duvall's performance, but personally, I think her reactions, her face was truly horrifying. We see her face as she looks down a hallway, and it's just pure terror. And we're like, what is she looking at? What is she looking at? And then it goes, and we see this dog. We see these figure just leaning over another figure, and we're like, what is that? And then it gets up, and it's this weird person in a dog suit and a man in a suit, and they just look at her, and it's just so horrifying because you have no idea who these people are, what they're going to do. And it's just so surreal. And it's just so terrifying to me. But there's no jump scare. There's no like, and it's not sudden. It's not like sudden stillness and then all of a sudden image, loud noise. We see her face that builds the tension, that builds the unrest inside of us, and then we see the image that they're looking at. And there's no loud noise that accompanies it. It's just there. It's just right there in front of us. And that is just so scary. The threat, the ghost, the evil waits for us to notice it. It doesn't proclaim itself. We notice it. And it's so horrifying because we think to ourselves, how long has it been there? The horror movie jump scare sound effect, to me, is just a cheap way to get your heart going, because horror movie screenwriters just don't have the creativity, and horror movie directors don't have the ideals, the image to really terrify us. They don't have the idea to say that subtle imagery and subtle noise is more disturbing than a sudden flash of a creepy image and a sudden pulsating sound effect. This is just my opinion, though. Scares, people being scared, I mean, that's a very variable thing. Like I said before, if you're scared or you feel like horror movies today are doing their job right and you feel like they're truly terrifying, then that's fine. And I'm not saying that there are not good horror movies out today. I mean, there are very few and in between, but they are there. Definitely. But I feel like most of the horror movies today are just cheap. and not worth it, which is why I don't see horror movies in theaters anymore, because I know it's just going to startle me but not scare me. Thank you for watching this video. I feel like I got my point across, and I hope horror movies become more subtle and just really unsettle the audience rather than startle them. So, thank you.